Leslie. That was just overwhelming. And it's also so overwhelming to see all of you here at Houston. This happens to be my first poetry reading in the city. I have done poetry readings in other cities like Seattle, Chicago, and in Kolkata, back in my hometown. But in Houston, thank you so much for welcoming me. So I'm going to read 2 poems from my recently published book, Woman And Her Muse. And one of the poems, its name is Vasudha the Earth. Vasudha is the Sanskrit name of our earth. And as women, we are carved in the earth's image. And it's a very sad time that both the earth and the woman is being tainted and tortured and ravaged. So basically that is the idea behind the poem. To the frothy waves churning in the oceanic core, to the mermaid smell, the melange of Ganga and Yamuna, the rivers that coalesce in my shore, to my Indus soil, bearing the imprints of my winsome horse trails, to the crimson surge of thoughts sweeping my fertile brain, as my womb, my moist flesh becomes the Vasudha, the earth that they feast on. To the hands, the supple fingers that feed the alchemy of dreams, I whisper my name. I tear my name into zillion blood-dripping petals and scatter them into nameless directions of this urban wasteland, in cobbled sidewalks, in forlorn alleys, in bare-bone street corners. My Vasudha had still not risen from her mother's womb, her sheltered core. Her contours were still not formed well enough when her shackles were created. The flowers to dangle in her hair, the gold anklets garnishing the feet to hopscotch within the Lakshman Rekha, the boundaries. The iridescent sky looming above my questioning self, the insolent sun lavishing his rays on my wild, volatile skin. The voluminous clouds bursting forth in torrents had claimed to be my paramours. I took them all in. They penetrated my fertile core, and I became whole. My Vasudha has been the earthen nymph. Her arms have been entwined with the sky, with her primeval man. And yet, they have bound me in shackles, left me sunless, called me a barren, loose woman. There, my oceanic core calls out again, the melange of Ganga, Yamuna in my bloody ripples. My Vasudha, the earth that they feast on, is the womb, the blood riot, the mantra of this life, flowing, rippling, gorging. Let them not taint the earth that they feast on. And one more short poem, with which I will end this session of mine. Celebrating the woman in art. This is inspired by some artworks depicted in some museums. The Renaissance period artworks, I mean. I know you will immerse in my shimmering breasts and the river poems traipsing in between. I know my weeping willow and my flower-decked dainty form will be your muse in many art-laden nights. I know my black clipped wings dying to burst free will be your cherished souvenir of my elemental jihad. I know my dear poet and firebrand lover, you will turn to my swan songs, my revelations, my celebratory curves a zillion times to make romance out of a fallen petal. You know, the blood and the dripping wet between my thighs and the babe nestled in my arms, sucking my surrendering nipples threadbare, makes for a damn good tapestry, a thing of beauty, a joy forever. I know the layers of my own skin and the molten lava spewing, the death of poems in my nooks and crannies. I know how you have babbled and wiggled in my inspired palms when you have become otherworldly in your quest to invoke me, craft me, your lady, your crowning glory, your hell of a woman. For once, dip your ink in fading sepia and craft me like a fluid, sexless bubble, like a ferocious black flood. For once, follow me in a black moon night and sculpt me like a trampled, torn mosaic, a cancerous bud. I know there is enough poetry in my infertile steam, my burnt morsels, more so than in my petrichor tunes. Only you need to know them, nurture their fumes. I know my frailty, my white succulent stories, as much as I know my dark, tarnished moon. In my bare, shriveling form, my dear, I wait for your sex, for your art, for your poetry to know this too.